For many years, doctors have been considered basically geeks for many reasons. They're smarter. They go through a lot of schooling. Sometimes it's well deserved because they don't get out much. But I think people have gotten a little bit more into getting to know their physicians a little bit better. And what they found is actually they're not that bad of people, Rod.
I don't think so either.
This episode is going to be about, do doctors have actually hobbies?
We are real people. But I think, hobbies are things that we all kind of gravitate to because we love to do things. As surgeons, we like to do things. We like to collect things. And when I look at the things that I like to do and hobbies, it's where I've lived and where I've traveled. I love to sail. We did that a lot when I was in Boston, and I carried that to Dallas. And things like, collecting things. I learned about Scotch. I don't drink very much, but when I was a fellow, I was in Oxford, and so we went to Scotland on the weekends. My fellow roommate he really liked to imbibe, and so we would go to Scotland. And lo and behold, this was in the late 80s, and so, of course, all the things that we did then, there was no single malt Scotch in the U.S. So we started drinking those, and all of a sudden now, because, you've been to some of the events where basically, we talk about, some finesse of single malt scotches all around Scotland. There's 5 regions, and there's like 239 different varieties, and I know a little bit about it. So it's just things we gravitate to. And, unfortunately, because we're type A personalities, Bill, we tend to take them to the extreme.
Yeah,
right?
We have some incredible, maybe tell some stories of some of our colleagues and things.
Yeah.
But, you got from watches to boats to other things. Some great hobbies out there that plastic surgeons actually have. I have several hobbies, but one of them is collecting guitars. I always say that actually the number of guitars somebody has is inversely proportional to how good they are, which is why I'm not that great at guitars, because I have a lot of nice guitars. But I got into it many years ago when I started playing as a young child. And then I basically dropped it because I was in school and busy. And then about 8 years ago, my aesthetic fellow, who Dr. Jason Rustayan, great plastic surgeon and rhinoplasty surgeon at UCLA in California, was in a band, and his band was called Help the Doctor, which is a great name for a band. That's another segment we'll have to do sometime. Yeah. Great names for bands, but I knew he played actually bass and guitar, and I said, hey, I'd like to get back into doing this. Would you go to Guitar Center and help me pick out a guitar? And he said, absolutely. So this one time when my wife was out of town, I was taking care of the kids. The kids were probably 10 and 8 or something. I said, hey, you guys want to go? We'll go to Guitar Center. I'll buy us all a guitar, and we'll learn how to play guitar.
And this was with Jason.
Yes, and then I called Jason, and his nickname was the Rooster. So I told my kids, hey, you're going to go meet the Rooster, and we're going to get guitars. And so they're like, oh, this is cool. This guy's name is the Rooster. And so we go to Guitar Center, and we all got guitars. And I never forget, when Jennifer came home, she goes, what the heck are all these guitars doing in the house? And my kids go, Dad got them for us. We're going to learn how to play guitar. And they're like, right. But anyway, it's great. And I've really picked up, BJ, can you bring up that picture of this is my home office, but you can see this is some of my guitars, and I actually decorate the office with them. But I have 2 Les Pauls, a Jackson, a Fender, an Ibanez, a Yamaha, and an Alvarez. And so, and so
you play all of them?
I play all of them. Not that great, but my kids think it's cool still, and they still talk about meeting the Rooster. So there's a lot of good stories that come from it. And even then there's another hobby that my wife and I have is cats. So I don't know, BJ, can you bring it, that other picture? By the guitar, that's one of my cats. That's Addie.
That's a live cat.
Who's actually a Siberian.
Oh,
Patricia like that, because Siberians are Russian cats. They're hypoallergenic, but they have hair. You can see how she's got plenty of hair. But anyway, the guitar playing is good. And the good thing about guitar is that you got to keep practicing, man. You're still learning all the time. And, plastic surgeons Guitar, I have several friends, very good guitarists, plastic surgeons, and we do things with our hands, and so it's a natural. I think it's a natural hobby for surgeons because we
Right.
do work with our hands.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do oil painting sometimes, especially during COVID. I did a bunch of oil paintings, and I'm not very good at it either. I don't have any to bring up. I don't know if I want to show any of them, but it's things that we do with our hands, and it's also it makes you really focus on the details. It's kind of like what we do.
Were you wearing a mask when you were painting that? No,
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
I'm not going to go there. That's another segment.
We actually had some virtual, instruction courses, which was kind of fun online, because remember those times in COVID when we couldn't go anywhere. So I think we gravitate towards things that we like, but also things that we can become better at. It's kind of like plastic surgery, and we all need something to do when we're not doing what we love to do, which is in this case plastic surgery. So I think the take-home lesson here is that hobbies are really good for us. It's good for our heart, good for our souls, because we have to have a purpose. And I think hobbies help to have us to have a purpose. I think a purpose in life, and you have to have a purpose-driven life. And right now, for us, it's plastic surgery, which sometimes, it's probably not the best thing, but it's really, if we lose that purpose, we need to go to something else. So I think hobbies are a good thing. Don't you? I mean, I think they can
absolutely.
become a stepping stone to other things, to businesses, to just outline meeting other people around the world. I mean, I also collect, cloisonne from China. And, when I used to go to China a lot, and that really is a great, great way to get to know other collectors and really, get to know really how things are made and how they're made, years ago in the 1800s and how they're made today. It's fascinating stuff that I think is kind of a lost art.
It would be interesting to actually do. I would bet that if we looked at who maybe are the top echelon of plastic surgeons, I think they all probably have hobbies because they're, it's the same thing. The people that are driven to be challenged or
Right.
to do new things, and they get involved. And plastic surgeons, I think, tend to be very focused individuals because they probably didn't get where they were without being that way. But then they get an interest in something, whether it's watches, boats, guitars, scotch. But then they want to learn about it. They read about it. They become a scholar, kind of like what they did with their profession. But it is a great alternative because you can't, I think, to make yourself the best at whatever your profession is, you can't just do that all the time. You've got to round yourself out. Plastic surgeons, we know them well. They're really actually pretty interesting people. They're not a bunch of pencil necks.
That's right. When you kind of scratch below the surface, and I think it's it gives us a purpose in another area of our life, which I think sometimes makes you feel good, because sometimes you're right. They all think, oh, we just know plastic surgery, or but we hopefully know a lot more beyond that. So I think, if you scratch the surface on most plastic surgeons, you'll be amazed. Sometimes I'm amazed when even some of my close friends, I find out, you really do that? I had no idea.
Yeah. And some people are just phenomenal. Whatever they have adopted in their hobby is, they're incredible. They're playing all sorts of instruments. I've got people that play keyboards and pianos and drums and classical instruments, and they're really, really phenomenal.
They're almost like experts in their own level. Like, I have a good friend who's in New York, and I saw his car collection, and he puts, he actually not only drives them, but he actually helps to fix them. And I'm going, oh my goodness, that's amazing, and he's really good at it. But he's also a really good plastic surgeon. So I think you try and strive to be great in your hobby like you are in your profession. And I think that's probably the take-home message here is that, find a hobby, find something that's a hobby that's something you like and that becomes purpose-driven in your life.
Yeah, well, that's great. And one of the things, and hey, doc, we want to get some things out. People ask these questions all the time. I mean,
Right.
They don't typically ask us, hey, are plastic surgeons a bunch of boring, pencil necks? But they may be thinking it sometimes. So I think that it's a great topic, but we thought it would be interesting for people to hear that 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 in general, even though sometimes people come across as being super serious things,
Right.
but because that's the way we try to be professionally. But especially now, there's a little bit more, I would say, expansion of being people, see beyond just the straight rote professional career of somebody, and they know a little bit more about their lives. And with social media, I think that's been some things that have come to light.
And when you think about it, actually, I think it makes you a better doctor. I think being a little bit more well-rounded. I mean, we certainly all, none of us, at least in my and your, were trained that way. But and I look at my kids. They're very much more broad-based in what they learned and how they learned it, and now they're focused on whatever they want to do. And I think that's probably a good thing because
Yeah.
we spend our whole life becoming plastic surgeons, but it's probably good to learn about the other stuff too.
Yeah.
Your hobbies and stuff. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, make sure you subscribe to our channel and leave comments below, because if you like more of this stuff, this is not really about plastic surgery, just about hobbies. Let us know, because we'll plan some more of these type of topics for you, and we'll see you next time.